Sometimes the timing is just so off, so unfortunate that it has to be perfect. It can be like I don't know if this particular situation that I'm thinking about have actually happened, but something similar like this. Like I see a very pretty girl, and I'm like, okay, wow, okay, I'm gonna approach her. I'm gonna make a move, and I'm starting to walk towards her, and then someone shows up, and uh, like oh my god, hi, hey, and they start hugging each other and like, oh my god, wow, it has been 100 years. How you been? God, I've missed you. And it's something like that. I don't know. And then it's just like, oh fuck, okay, this is not a good time to approach. It doesn't necessarily need to prevent one from making an approach, but for me that would throw me off, and I don't think that in particular have happened, but something similar like that regarding approaching girls. uh, Sometimes maybe it's also just excuses, you make up excuses in your mind like, oh no, that was not a good this was not a good situation, or good moment to do that. But anyway, there can be situations like that, and then one ought to just realize, well, that was very bad timing, so there must be a reason for it. I mean, that's how I perceive life, like very hardcore. So there's nothing or no one that could uh, convince me otherwise, and neither am I trying to convince anyone else that things happen for a reason always, and that there is an intelligence working through reality and through us, making and preventing connections from happening and whatever it might be. But in my reality, that is a very real thing. And I'm thinking also about what happened just a couple of days ago at my work. There's my favorite colleague, one could say, or like my favorite colleague as in terms of like friends. When it comes to work wise, there's another one that is my favorite colleague, but friend wise, this is my favorite colleague. We have connected very well, and there's this thing with her though. We work at a hotel. I work night shift, so I take over from her in the evenings sometimes. And she has this thing that she overextends herself to guests. She is very nice. She's very accommodating, and like, she's sunshine. She's a sun ray, really. She lights up. She makes everyone happy, and that's great, But it is at the expense of her own like well-being. She drains herself. She allows herself to be drained. And we've been talking a lot about that, and I've been, working with her in a way to, to check her in certain, like, regarding certain things, like, no, you don't need to do that. No, you don't need to say that to that person, or, you don't need to do all of that extra. But it's just natural part of her. But she also has a nervous kind of nervous something, not, I don't find the right word, but like nervous system conditions, like, yeah, she easily, she doesn't have as much energy as she once used to. And also when she gets kind of stressed, she's overworking herself even more. It's anyway, that is a theme that we have. And when I came in the evening to take over from her, there was some guests there, and she was helping them, and she was being, her, putting on that character, although it's not completely character, but she's being, when she's working, she is really doing, like, we could say it's like a character. Like when she's working, she put on her working role, and she is very, yeah, too nice, too accommodating, too social, really, because she don't really want to. It drains her, like I've said. And then the guests get the impression that, oh, she's really genuine, and because she is genuine in a way, but it just, she can't control herself, really. So she's being overly nice, and then the guests, you know, kind of things like, you know, oh, well, we can disturb her as much as we want. She's just gonna appreciate it. So yeah, we've been working on that, and she has made great improvements over the last 6 months or so. She has made very great improvements, but she still slips into that unnecessary role sometimes, and or quite often, but it's not to the extent that it used to be, but it's still, she still gets drained a lot. And then, anyway, this evening when I came in, there was some guests she was chatting with there, and she had just helped them with something, and then they thanked her, and she was like, oh no, it was, but she said it in Swedish, like det var ett nöje, it means it's a pleasure. She was like also translating it, you know, doing all that extra. No, it was my pleasure, saying it in Swedish, and then saying what it means. It means it was my pleasure, and you know, like doing that, overextending, unnecessary shit, basically. And I was just going in to the computer, logging myself in, and then in the next breath, she comes to me and she says, oh, it has been so much. I'm honestly almost about to cry. And I was like, look, considering what you just told these guests, like, I don't want to hear about it. Like, and I was almost doing it with a little smirk, you know, not to like be like overly harsh on her, but to like, or to be like, what would you say, like, not arrogant, but something like that. Not to, I was just doing it to be like kind of in a somewhat friendly way, like, you know, I know I'm not gonna be like that support for you when I see what you're just doing now. It's like you're not even trying. It's like I can't be here all the time and just. I didn't say any of this, but that's where I came from. I can, you know, to protect myself also. I don't want to be just supporting someone, like being their emotional, you know, support if they in front of me like show that, yo, you're not even trying, or like, no, I can't have that. I'm not gonna deal with that when you just told them that it was your pleasure and doing all of that extra stuff. No. And then she was really upset, and she was like, I thought you was my friend, and and she was really not happy at all, and well, that triggered something. So we ended up like it was some kind of, you know, arguing, although for me, from my end, I was just like kind of receiving whatever she said, and she said a lot of things because she's a very intelligent person. She is very wise, she's older than me, and she was saying some things, you know, and she didn't like how I said that, and how like, and now that she's talking to me, the way I'm looking, like, don't act cool. I'm like, I'm not acting cool, but it's like, what am I supposed to, like, what am I supposed to do? Like, you're telling me all of these things, and there's nothing I can do about it. And by the way, I also knew what astrological transits I was under at that time. So it was like, this is exactly what I'm expecting to happen, like relational issues and like kind of, you know, aggressions and clashes. And I've already experienced that for the previous day, and so yeah, it was, everything was timely. That's why I was kind of sitting there smirking, you know, and like like it is what it is, kind of, you know. So that in that moment I was like, you know, well, it makes perfect sense that this is happening now. But the thing is, with the bad timing thing, is that apparently those guests that she had just told, you know, that it was her pleasure to help them and all of that, they were actually some guests that, you know, they had recognized that she was really tired and that she is overworked, and she, like, they had actually showed compassion to her. They had expressed compassion to her, for like understanding the situation she was in, not like most other guests that is just like things that doesn't see through, or doesn't see how drained she really is, you know. But they had expressed something about that, and you know, they had a little emotional moment with each other. There was two nice ladies, and then with my colleague, they had like expressed some, you know, concerns and compassion for her. So when she said it was my pleasure, okay, maybe it wasn't a pleasure of actually doing that task for them, but she meant she was being a little more genuine with them, because they had been a little more genuine to her and seen through the facade, or like, yeah, you see what I mean. So it was just super bad timing that I came in and she said that to them, and then she told me that she's about to cry almost, because she had been so much and she's so stressed. And so yeah, it was just super bad timing like that, but it was also perfect, because that made us get into a quarrel or whatever, and we had an opportunity there to take out, like, bring up things was brought up that has been kind of been in the background, or like been a little beneath the surface, in the shadow of our relation. Things got brought up to light because of it, and it wasn't, you know, very nice things, but it was good, it was great. And it's like yeah, it was perfect. It was such bad timing that it has to be perfect, and there are many situations like that in life. So we just ought to embrace it. I say just ought to embrace it, but it's not always or often very easy to just say just. It's not just, but we ought to embrace it, because that's what we're here for. We're here to learn and you know, grow and squeeze ourselves through tight situations, contraction and expansion, bring up underlying issues, and recognize our own bullshit, and, well, call others bullshit out, especially, like, or at least if it is someone that you have a relation with that you actually value. Otherwise you might not need to call out someone's bullshit. If it's just some random person, it's like, well, let God take care of that. Everything balances itself out eventually. Yeah, it actually, I would say it even that situation was beneficial for our connection. And if one is fortunate, or like if one has the eyes to see, then one can see that there are many situations in life that are like that, but might appear that like it's just stupid or unnecessary. And yeah, if something makes one feel uncomfortable, then that's a healthy thing that it made one feel uncomfortable, because then we can tend to that and work on that, shadow work, whatever. Yeah, I just thought to talk about this. I wanted to talk about this, and now it's been some days, and it's like, let me just do it, because yeah, that's life. And I'm gonna stop it right there.